Hi, I'm Brad Smart, and the title of this Top Grading Tips article is Topgrading CEO Tortured. Of my almost 7,000 top grading interviews, this is one of the strangest. It's a compelling top grading tips article of a highly resourceful bad guy. The client name and industry have been changed for pretty obvious reasons. So here we go. Juan, we'll call him Juan, headed a global financial services company considered to be the most innovative in the world. As a child, Juan was reared to prepare to overthrow his country's dictator. And at 20 years of age, he made the attempt, but failed. The dictator captured Juan and a friend, strung them up by their hands, sliced off his friend's private parts. When the dictator was about to do the same to Juan, Juan urinated in the dictator's face. Or so he told me. Rather than immediately kill Juan, the dictator decided to torture him, putting Juan in a box similar to a coffin where he was barely kept alive. An artist from Juan's country painted a picture portraying Juan in his coffin, with the lights of truth and freedom cascading off of the box. And I bought the painting, which is now in someone's basement. The dictator was overthrown 6 months later. Juan was hospitalized another 6 months, again, or so he told me. Then 20 years later, he founded this company with offices in 150 countries. To emerge from the torture box to mold a respected global company as CEO must have required incredible resourcefulness, drive, brains, and guts. You're thinking, Brad, this guy sounds like a hero, so where's the negative? Stay tuned, you'll see. Juan hired me to help top grade the top 3 levels in his company, a 3-year project. Juan was the only senior executive not to go through the top grading process with me. I advised him that he should go through the top grading process so I could help build teams that would work best for him. He said, quote, "You might find out something I don't want you to know, Brad." Interesting, indeed. So early in my consulting engagement, Juan invited me to Las Vegas, promising that we'd each make about $250,000 his secret way. He hinted that we'd have fun. Private jet, penthouse suite, no wives, just the guys, haha. I had heard that Juan fooled around a lot, but not with women inside the company. I was curious as to why Vegas hotels would have a business strategy of paying all of our expenses, writing us checks for $250,000. Something sounded just a little fishy. Juan simply said, "You'll see." Needless to say, I declined Juan's offer, and he never asked me again. It frankly didn't even occur to me at that time that Juan had a gambling addiction, because he had shown me his net worth in an estate document. His dad had died. He had the document. Tears were running down his face. Put it in front of me. Guy's worth $500 million, or the family is. Juan had a huge personality and ego. I witnessed his ordering a U.S. senator to get off your ass right now. Phew. I sat in on a meeting with 50 board members and 8 translators, and Juan masterfully molded his opinions so that the group would accept them. He always got exactly what he wanted. In a champagne event, where anyone else would toast 3 heads of state with grace, sophistication, and poise, Juan got away with an outrageously dirty joke. I would have loved to put Juan through a top grading interview and talk to people who had known him over the years, because he was unique and he was fascinating. But again, it never occurred to me what I was going to find out later, and of course that top grading interview never happened. The top grading engagement was packing the organization with talent. Juan was doing well as a leader. So his idiosyncrasies, and given some cultural diversity, yeah, okay, he's different, he's unique, but I couldn't imagine that he'd be stealing from the company. When the top grading engagement was over, we had a final dinner in Washington, D.C. at the Watergate Hotel. We toasted each other, said goodbye, and I left wondering what the heck I didn't know about Juan. Okay, so 2 weeks later, the FBI marched into Juan's offices, and just as in the first Wall Street movie, he did the perp walk. Remember that? You know, slap on the handcuffs, march him out in front of a bunch of people. As it turned out, Juan had bribed 10 consultants, contractors, and others to give him kickbacks on their contracts, apparently to support his gambling habit. He'd take them to Las Vegas, get them the girls, persuade them to participate in his kickback schemes. The consultants didn't do much work, which eventually caused them some serious legal problems. I'm proud I was the only one of the consultants and contractors who was never even called by the FBI. I suppose because there were so many of my reports that showed I actually did the work for which I invoiced the company. Juan tried to frame someone else in the company, to take the fall for stealing, but that didn't work. So, after the perp walk, Juan went to jail, was released 3 years later, returned to his home country, came back to the U.S. Guess what? He was arrested at the border and jailed again for additional illegalities. Phew! Why, when I suspected that Juan was a sociopath, didn't I walk away from the engagement? Well, I didn't know he'd bribed anyone or taken kickbacks or broken any laws other than maybe fooling around. And that was just, vague rumors of Vegas trips and who knows what was exaggerated. Didn't pay much attention to it. As mentioned, he did show me the figures with his huge estate, but somehow, when the truth came out, I wasn't all that shocked. I wonder how much of Juan's darker side I might have seen had he participated in the full top grading process. I don't know. Are there any top grading principles? I guess so. This is just just a little bit more than a really odd story. There's kind of something like a top grading parable here. I don't know. Anyway, resourcefulness, as most of you know if you're listening to this, resourcefulness of dozens of competencies is the most important. It's the drive, analytic ability, determination to get over and round and through barriers to success. Had Juan been a candidate for hire, the standard top grading approach would have had Juan arranging reference calls with all former bosses, 4 in his case, and I probably would have wanted to talk with 3 subordinates and several peers as well, ones that I would pick. So I bet I would have sniffed out some real concerns about his integrity. So that's the interesting story. I've talked to a lot of people from the country, and about a third of them say, yes, it's a true story. He urinated it on the face of the dictator. They tortured him. He came out. He became a world figure. I don't know. Anyway, that's the end of this story. And at the end, we have a recommended resource. If you hadn't gotten it, and you'd be interested in the 3rd edition of Top Grading, you probably know it made all the bestseller lists and actually was #1 bestseller in the United States of 17 million books for a couple days. But here's the deal. If you go to our website, www.topgrading.com, and you want to get the book, you pay a few bucks more for it, but you get a recorded 45-minute webinar of all the best stuff from the book, and frankly, in some ways, it's actually easier than reading the book. Because you have arrows pointed to things. You don't have to go to an appendix and try to piece things together. And in that book, if you don't know, there are 40 case studies, and the average improvement in hiring was from 26 to 85% high performers. And the CEOs all said top grading made the company more successful. So that's it. Until next time, top grade your team, and you will, as confirmed in the 3rd edition of Top Grading, you will top grading your profits.